Yeah, that's cool. So hitting record. So the next part of your questions. So what happens when you're finished the 10 to 12 week program? And then the next part's in this calorie increase, how much, how fast, training intensity, where do you start? Cool, man. This is the whole reason I built out the transformation formula. That's the whole reason, because I used to see a massive shortfall in just the way in which programs were delivered, especially in if you look at the uh, like your typical 12-week challenge, whatever it is. Anyone can kind of diet down for fat loss, but as I said before, like what happens after you lose all the weight? You know what I mean? Like once you kind of get, you do your 12-week challenge and you've stuck to an unsustainable training program, you're on your 800 calories, whatever it is, and you're doing your twice day cardio, whatever the program entails, because a lot of those programs are simply, don't deviate, don't ask questions, follow the diet just so we can get a ripping before and after photo. They kind of leave you then in no man's land at the end. All of a sudden, it's like, I've done the program. What do I do? I can't sustain it. I can't keep doing it. And the only thing that you have, which is already there, is old existing habits, which kind of puts you in a shitty place to start with. Like you can't expect that, you follow a lifestyle for a number of years, end up in this start position, then do a 12-week program, a challenge, and then go back to the old existing lifestyle, then expecting the gains to remain. Like it doesn't make any sense. So I had to kind of create something that then created the forward framework. It created progression, because let's just say if the goal is to lose 10 kilos of body fat, then what happens next? Like once you lose it, you're going to have new goals. And that's the other thing too. The achievement of goals will then, it sets us dreaming. It's like, what's next? So, where is it? Where is it? So we'll go to this one here. So the transformation formula. All right. So I'm going to I'll go through it. Yeah. So you look there. So that's basically the formula itself. All right. So hopefully it's all kind of bringing back some flashbacks and idea. But as a formula is, if you look at it like that, so what's actually in the parentheses and stuff like that? So it's intake plus expenditure divided by lifestyle plus accountability multiplied by time equals the result. So which is a really, I suppose, when you look at that way, it gives me, I look at that and it's like I found a way to make math work once I left school. You know what I mean? So what it really just says to me, it's about having accountability and somewhat control of a lifestyle, control of the things that you do relative to an outcome, and just being accountable. You know what I mean? So once you achieve one level of success, what's next? So this is the complicated version of it. There actually is more of a streamlined version, and that's in the onboard, and that's in the introduction there. And it looks a little bit simpler in terms of this. This would probably be the easiest way to explain it. So again, expenditure, like exercise plus nutrition divided by lifestyle multiplied by time equals the result. So now, like once you finish a current program and a length of time, and to say what's next, then it's like, what's the next goal? What's the next thing that you want to achieve? Now, again, it can be anything. Like, so your next course of action is going to then be dependent upon what the next goal is. So if you look at this, it's like, okay, like goals can be, I want to lose more body fat. Goals could be, I now want to focus on an exercise. I want to build strength. A goal can also be sustainability. Like that I think is it's the kind of the ultimate, it's the holy grail. It's like, now I'm at this level of conditioning, strength, performance, like everything is just great. There's nothing I can't do. I feel confident, I look good in my clothes. I'm not afraid I'm going to lose it. Well, cool. So if you're at that level of sustainability, we still have to put some type of programming together to be able to create the consistency and then the continued accountability. So for me, it's just a matter of what is it do I want to achieve next? Like, so is there something particular I want to work on? It could be like, do I want to build the size of my arms? Do I want to lose another centimeter off my waist? Or it could also be in terms of, is there something that I need to fix? Your next transition or your next block could be also focused on rehab. You could be spending some time. It's like, I want to spend the next 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever, working on a squat technique. I've got a dodgy knee. I'm going to put all my energies and the focus into fixing my knee. So whatever it is. So once we have a goal, then we just have to map that to a time frame. Is there a specific time frame in terms of do things need to be a set length of time, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever? Well, I think number one, you need to make sure that you've got a length of time which is appropriate to the goal. So let's just say if your goal was, I want to lose 10 kilos of additional body fat. And if you turn around and say, well, my goal time frame is 2 weeks, then that's not going to happen because you're kind of setting yourself up. So you just want to make sure that the time frame that you've used is appropriate for the goal that you want. But then also too, let's just say that your goal is somewhat sustainability. And you might say, well, I'm not really training for any event or anything like that. I'm really good where things are, but hey, we're going away in 3 months. So why not piece together a training program? And it's just going to take me up to the next 3 months so I can stay consistent. And then I can go away and then use that time away. I'm away for a week or 2 weeks of some active recovery. Then I don't have to stress about, necessarily training, utilizing that as some downtime, and then coming back. So it allows you then to set timeframes relative to the goal and the result that you want. Once you've got those two things, so again, then it takes a matter of understanding, so where am I at right now? So in terms of overall body assessment relative to the goal. So if I wanted to lose excess weight, how much weight am I carrying? What's going on? But then also to extending that into lifestyle. So what's life like? Am I busy with work? Is it a down period in work? What's going on? The kids playing sport? Is it finals? The wife? Whatever. So then it gives you a really good snapshot because as we know, intake and the things that we do is one thing. So yes, we need to be able to have some control of our nutrition. We need to be able to have the right programming. So the programming is going to allow you to achieve the goal. So it's set to achieve that goal. But then also too, it has to balance the lifestyle. And that's the other thing. Like there is no point, I think, trying to train 5 days a week if the goal didn't necessarily need it. So let's just say if you're trying to lose 5 kilos in 12 weeks, then you don't need to train 5 days a week. So that could be one aspect. Or also what might happen is you could also be working 120 hours a week. So trying to get to the gym 5 days a week is lunacy. Like you don't need to. I think it would be detrimental trying to create that sort of approach. So at least this way, it means that you can dial in nutrition specific to your goals, your needs, your lifestyle, your family, your likes, dislikes, your routine. You can do exactly the same thing for your training. And then lifestyle is the balance. You know what I mean? Anyone can stick to a crazy, unsustainable program for a short period of time. But the real key is knowing how to balance it in with your lifestyle, but then also to not be afraid to turn it up when things need to be turned up. And that then comes down to the time frame and also the way in which you measure, hence why we do weekly stats and weekly check-ins, because that's your accountability measure. I think it would be crazy to start on week. Let's just say you're mapping something out over 12 weeks. It'd be crazy to start on day 1 and go, okay, cool. I'll check in at day 84 and see how I went. It just makes no sense. At least if you're checking in routinely, that's where the A comes in, the accountability. If you're checking in routinely, if you are not on track, it gives you an opportunity to stop, to look over what you've been doing. Is everything aligned? So you can course correct where need be. Or on the flip side, if you are on track, then you know the reasons why you're being successful, which is going to give you massive doses of confidence that you can continue to lean into it, because you know that, hey, if I just keep doing what I'm doing, and again, knowing that it's not just about what you're doing training wise, but i.e. it's the process of training. I'm being accountable with my nutrition. I'm tracking and measuring my progress. I'm accumulating data at the end of the week to make sure I'm still moving towards the goal. As long as I keep doing that, then I'm going to either hit my goal or be very, very close to it. And that is the real powerful thing. But as I said, I think it would have been totally remiss if I designed this whole project simply with no progression. You know what I mean? Like if it was simply a matter of, this is a fat loss plan, and yes, 95% of people reach out for fat loss. But I mean, if I just simply said, this is a fat loss plan, we do intermittent, ketogenic, fasting, whatever, and this is the exact number of days that you train per week, and this is the supplements that you buy, and this is the cardio that you do, and I have absolutely no consideration for what's next, hence I've got a whole lesson, what's next. I have no consideration of that, then I think that would be just the completely wrong thing. And yes, you would get a great result up front, but then there would be no progressive goal. There'd be no after, you know what I mean? And I think this is the reasons why people succeed here, and we get that forward progression, because the truth is we don't know the challenges and the obstacles anyone's going to have in, say, 10 weeks, 12 weeks time, 6 months time. We don't know. Also, too, we don't know what the goals of people are going to have. Like a lot of the times we might sit back at the start and we're very, very focused on, say, a fat loss goal. But once that fat loss is gone, what's next? They could, I often use the example, and Bill was a great example, but I use triathlon because triathlon to me is probably the most polar opposite thing I can think of in regards to body composition. It's all about, you've got to eat enough fuel, you've got to fuel your workouts, you're doing a shit ton of volume to be able to perform with no real desire or focus on how you look. You just happen to end up being like a greyhound out of a byproduct of doing what's needed to achieve the goal. But you can see here, this formula would work exactly the same in that goal, i.e., what you're going to be in. So your intake, so your nutrition is going to be mapped to your goal. Your expenditure and the movement that you do is mapped to the goal. Your lifestyle still has to be considered. You still got to balance out all those training sessions with life. You still have to be accountable. So your accountability might be different. So you're not necessarily taking girth measurements, but you're measuring your track performance. You're measuring your swim splits and all that sort of thing. The time frame is going to be the preparation to the event. How long am I going to use or allocate to achieve, or when is the race meet, I should say, because now that time is dictated by an event. When is the race meet? And my result will be finishing. That's it. So that's how I would tackle things. So cool, man. Let me just hit the end and we'll go back to normal.